Dear viewers, welcome to our channel GVS Bank Academy. Today I am going to discuss about recalled questions from scale 3 to 4 examination. This is a continuation to part 5. Now today this is discussing part 6, continuation to part 5. These are the recalled questions, examination questions, promotional exam, scale 3 to 4, exam dated 28 to 2021, Nationalized Bank examination questions, scale 3 to 4. Now, question number continuously 64, 65, 66 about the sovereign gold bond scheme. Sovereign gold bond scheme, the 64, 65, 66 questions are there. What is the questions? Maximum limit of subscription of gold for individuals, 4 kgs for individuals, 4 kgs for HUF also. Maximum limit subscription under sovereign gold bond is 4 kgs for individuals, 4 kgs for Hindu undivided family, and 20 kgs for trust. This is maximum limit of subscription of individuals 4 kgs, HUF 4 kgs, trust 20 kgs. This is maximum. Minimum is 1 gram. Under this scheme, minimum investment of gold is 1 gram. Second, interest. What is the interest rate on the sovereign gold bond scheme? Interest at the rate of 2.5% fixed per annum on the amount of initial investment. On the initial investment, 2.5% interest will be paid. Interest will be credited semi-annually to the bank account of the investor. So, investor will get 2.5% fixed per annum, and the interest is going to be credited to half yearly into party's account. This is the sovereign gold bond scheme. Minimum 1 gram, maximum limit for individuals 4 kgs, HUF 4 kgs, and trust 20 kgs. Rate of interest is 2.5. So 3 questions they are asked. So on this sovereign gold bond scheme. Question number 67, liquidity coverage ratio. This is very important for all the exams, JAB, CAB, promotional exam also. The liquidity coverage ratio which was introduced under Basel III. What is the liquidity coverage ratio of for Indian banks up to 31st March 2021? That is 90% of requirement. Now, from 1/4/2021, 1st April 2021 onwards, that is 100% of requirement. Liquidity coverage ratio for Indian banks as per Basel III compliance 100%. What is meant by liquidity coverage ratio? Banks have to maintain enough liquidity from 1 day to 30 calendar days. Under liquidity coverage ratio, banks has to maintain enough liquidity from 1 to 30 calendar days. 1 to 30 calendar days, bank has to calculate what is the net payments during the 1 to 30 days payment. So, toward the payment of 1 to 30 days, bank has to maintain 100% of its payment in liquid assets. 100% of the payment requirement in liquid assets in under liquidity coverage ratio. These 100% requirement they have to maintain in the form of HQLA, high quality liquid assets. HQLA, high quality liquid assets. This is liquidity coverage ratio. It talks about 1 to 30 days bank has to maintain. 68, time limit for settlement of import payments. The importers have to make the payment under imports. Remittance against imports should be completed not later than 6 months from the date of shipment. The importer has to make payment within 6 months. Time limit for settlement of import payments. 6 months from the date of shipment. This is the exam question. Now I am also discussing exports. For exports of goods and services, realization and repatriation of export process to India, 9 months from the date of shipment. Export of goods and services, realization and repatriation of export process, 9 months from the date of shipment. The amount and realization and repatriation has to be received within 9 months. Export made 1st April 2020, 1st April 2020 to 31st July 2020. The Corona initial period 1st April 20 to 31st July 2020. Imports made from this period, the realization period is specifically it has extended to 15 months. This is only applicable 15 months, 1st April 20 to 31st July 2020. After 1st August 2020 onwards, 9 months only. This is about time limit for settlement of import payment and exports of goods and services, realization and reportation. Question number 39. Accounts where there is a erosion in the value of security. IRAC norms. Income recognition asset classification norms. If there is erosion in the value of security, what is the criteria? Erosion in the value of security can be reckoned as significant when the realizable value of security is less than 50% of the value assessed by the bank. When there is erosion in the value of security is less than 50% of the value assessed by the bank at the time of last inspection. When at the time of last inspection, there was a erosion in the value of securities by less than 50%, as the case may be, such NPA accounts straight away classified as doubtful card. It means if there is a erosion in the value of security is more than 50%, less than 50% of the value assessed by the bank accepted by RBI at the time of last inspection. So that is called as NPA, straight away called as doubtful account. This is erosion in the value of security can be reckoned as significant when the realizable value of the security is less than 50% of the value assessed by the bank at the time of last inspection to disinfection. This is straight away doubtful accounts. If the realizable value of security, this is the exam question A. In connection this, I am also discussing this point. If the realizable value of security as assessed by the bank or approved value RBI is less than 10% of the outstanding borrowing accounts, where the realizable value of security is less than 10% of the outstanding ledger balance account, the existence of security should be ignored. So at the time the security should be ignored by the bank and the asset should be straight away classified as loss assets. It means that where the value of security outstanding in that borrowing account is less than 10% of the outstanding ledger balance loan account, the existence of the security should be ignored and the asset should be straight away classified as loss asset. This is question number 69, IRAC norms, erosion in the value of security. Question number 70, classification of frauds regarding cash shortages. Classification of frauds regarding cash shortages, RBI guideline. The following cases shall be treated as fraud and reporting accordingly. Cases of cash shortage more than 10,000 including ATM, that can be treated as fraud. Cases of cash shortage more than 10,000 including ATM cash shortage treated as fraud. Now in the examination they had asked this question. Classification of cash shortages more than 5,000 rupees if detected by management during the inspection or auditor detected during the audit or inspecting officer detected during the inspection and not reported on the day of occurrence by the person handling cash. So the person who is handling cash, this shortage was not reported and during the verification the management has detected or during the audit by the auditor or inspecting official detected the cost shortage of 5,000 and above, that will also part of fraud. Now this question, B question they had asked in the examination. Cases of cash shortage more than 5,000 rupees if detected by management or auditor or inspecting officer and not reported by the on the day of occurrence by the person handling the cash, that also will come as a cash shortage. Now 71, this is a very difficult question. Advance remittance for import of goods. So 2-3 points you have to discuss under this question. Advance remittance for import of goods. AD category 1, authorized dealer category 1 bank may allow advance remittance on behalf of the importer of goods without any ceiling subject to the following conditions. AD bank can allow the advance remittance subject to the following conditions. What are the conditions? If the amount of advance remittance exceeds $2 lakh, if the amount of advance remittance exceeds US dollar $2 lakh or its equivalent, if the amount of advance remittance exceeds US dollar 2 lakhs or its equivalent, an unconditional, irrevocable standby letter of credit or guarantee from international bank, bank of repute situated outside India, or a guarantee of AD category bank. It means that whenever the importer is remitting advance remittance of exceeds 2 lakhs dollars or equivalent, at that time an unconditional, irrevocable standby letter of credit is required, or guarantee from international reputed bank is required, or a guarantee from an AD bank situated in India, that is required, where when the amount is exceeding $2 lakh as advance remittance. This is the first point. Second point, in cases where the importer is unable to obtain the bank guarantee from overseas supplier. In the cases where the importer is unable to obtain bank guarantee from overseas supplier and the AD category in bank is satisfied, unable to obtain bank guarantee, and the AD authorized dealer category 1 branch is satisfied about the track record and bona fides of the importer. If AD category 1 bank is satisfied about the track record of the importer, the requirement of the bank guarantee or standby letter of credit may not be insisted upon for advance remittance up to $50 lakh. Up to $50 lakh not required. That is US dollar 5 million. 5 million or equivalent to $50 lakh. So, in cases where the importer is unable to obtain bank guarantee from overseas supplier and the AD category 1 branch satisfied about the track record and bona fides of the importer, the requirement of bank guarantee, standby letter of credit may not be insisted upon for advance remittance of up to US dollar 50 lakhs or US dollar 5 million. AD category and bank may frame their own internal guidelines to deal with such cases. Whenever at that time the AD category 1 bank will frame their own bank guidelines accepted by their board of directors. Whenever they are doing up to this 50 lakhs or $5 million, AD category 1 bank may frame their own internal guidelines to deal with such cases. This is about goods. Advance remittance for import of goods. First point is, second point is regarding for import of goods. The third point is, exam question is advance remittance for import of goods. In this connection, I am discussing this point also. Advance remittance for the import of services. Where the amount of advance exceeds US dollar 5 lakhs or its equivalent, a guarantee from bank of international repute situated outside India, or a guarantee from an authorized dealer category bank in India. So, when the advance remittance belongs to services, it is exceeding 5 lakh dollars equivalent, a bank guarantee required from international bank or from a AD category bank in India. So, this is a 71 is a little bit difficult question. It needs further reading in the examinations. Interest subvention scheme for Kisan credit card to fisheries and animal husbandry farmers. Kisan credit card to fisheries and animal husbandry farmers during the years 2018-19, 19-20, 21-21. They are giving KCC, Kisan Credit Card Facility to animal husbandry farmers and fisheries. Loan up to 2 lakhs. Short-term loan requirement up to 2 lakhs. They are eligible for interest subvention. They are eligible for interest subvention. It has been decided to provide interest subvention 2% for a maximum period of 1 year. So 2% they will get for a maximum period of 1 year to lending institution of public sector banks, private sector bank, and 3% for prompt payment. So all the KCC farmers of animal husbandry farmers and fisheries up to 2 lakhs loan, they will get to provide interest subvention of 2% for up to 1 year, and for their prompt repayment 3% they will get. Interest subvention 2% maximum period of 1 year, and for prompt repayment they will get 3%. This is about interest subvention for Kisan credit card. Now question number 73, break-even point calculation. Break-even point calculation. These figures are not from the examination. I have taken for an example for understanding purpose of the participants. Break-even point calculation question was asked in the examination. The participant had not provided the figures, but we have taken some imaginary figures for calculation for understanding purpose. Fixed cost of the firm 25,000. Fixed cost means salaries, depreciation, rent. These are fixed cost. These costs are constant over a period of time. This is the selling price per unit 25 rupees. 25 rupees. 25 rupees. Variable cost. Variable cost means which varies according to raw material consumption and production of units. Variable cost is 60% of selling price. 25 rupees into 60%, 15 rupees per unit is the variable cost. The firm is producing and selling 5,000 units. The company or firm is producing and selling 5,000 units. Calculate the break-even point. For the purpose of calculation of break-even point, first you have to know what is the contribution. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Selling price is 25 rupees, variable cost 15 rupees, contribution is 10 rupees. 10 rupees. Now BEP in units, break-even point in units is equal fixed cost, that is 25,000 divided by contribution per unit 10 rupees. 25,000 divided by 10, the break-even units are 2,500 units. Break-even units are 2,500 units. BEP in rupees. BEP in rupees is equals BEP units are 2,500 units into selling price per unit 25. 2,500 units into 25 rupees. Then you will get break-even point in rupees 62,500. So break-even sales are 62,500. Break-even units are 2,500. Break-even point in rupees sales 62,500. Margin of safety sales. Margin of safety means actual sales minus BEP sales. Actual sales minus BEP sales. Actual sales are 5,000 units. Total sales is 5,000 into 25 rupees. Selling 5,000. So 1,25,000 rupees. Total sales are 1,25,000. What is the margin of safety sales is equal to total sales 1,25,000 minus 62,500 break-even sales. You will get 62,500. Margin of safety sales. What is the meaning of margin of safety sales? The firm is getting profit on the margin of safety sales only. Up to break-even sales, up to 62,500 sales, the firm is not getting profit. At this stage, the firm is just recovering its fixed cost and variable cost. So, up to break-even point, no profit, no loss situation. After that only, profits will come. That's why margin of safety sales is equal to total sales 1,25,000 minus 62,500. You will get 62,000. Margin of safety sales means profitable sales. On which sale the company is getting profits, that is called margin of safety sales. This is question number 73. Question number 74, guarantees. Guarantees defined under section 126 of Indian Contract Tax. Guarantees. Financial guarantee. This question they are asked in the examination. What is the meaning of financial guarantee? Guarantee for various credit facilities. Whenever bank is taking a guarantee for various facilities, that is also financial guarantee. Guarantees given in favor of income tax, GST authorities for disputed tax liabilities on behalf of customer. Any bank is issuing bank guarantee, that is also financial guarantee. DPG, deferred payment guarantee, is also financial guarantee. Standby letter of credit is also financial guarantee. So the participants, they have to clearly understand, clearly know the difference between financial guarantee, performance guarantee, and deferred payment guarantee. In IOB also they had asked this question. So in the exams, JAB, CAB also they are asking. The participant has to know the clear understanding and clear cut differences between financial guarantee, performance guarantee, and deferred payment guarantee. Performance guarantee. These guarantees are issued by banks on behalf of their clients, their customers. Performance guarantees are issued by banks on behalf of their clients in respect of performance of a contract or obligation. It means that if any contractor already got a contract execution from the respective authorities, government, non-government authorities, for the due performance of the contract or obligation, if any contractor for doing his performance of the contract, he is asking a guarantee, that is called performance guarantee. Why this performance guarantee required? For the due performance, whether the party can complete the contract or obligation as per time norms, as per stipulated by the government of that issuing government beneficiary stipulation, whether the party can complete the contract or not. In that cases, they are insisting performance guarantee. Risk is comparatively less than the financial guarantee. And compared to financial guarantee, performance guarantee is risk is less, because already whenever the bank is giving a performance guarantee, means already established players in that field and experienced players in that field, for that only they are issuing the performance guarantee. At the time of issue of performance guarantee, the banks has to tease track record of performance of the contracts. Based on that only, they have to sanction the performance guarantee. Then DPG, deferred payment guarantee. This is also as good as financial guarantee. DPG. These guarantees normally arise in the case of purchase of machinery, when the borrower is directly purchasing the capital goods of machinery directly from the supplier. When the borrower of your bank directly purchasing the capital goods, machinery or capital equipment directly from the supplier, at that time the borrower is requesting the bank for issue of deferred payment guarantee toward the supplier. Under this guarantee, the banker guarantees payment of installments to towards the supplier of the raw material, spread over a period of time. It may be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, based on. So this is deferred payment guarantee. Normally banks can issue this when a customer borrower directly purchasing the capital goods or capital equipment machinery directly from the supplier without taking term loan. At the time, this is a deferred payment guarantee. This is also as good as financial guarantee. This is about question number 74. Now, all the participants are requested to note difference between financial guarantee, difference between performance guarantee, difference between these three guarantees, meaning and differences they have to know for exam. Question number 75, MSME, medium enterprise definition. Investment in plant and machinery does not exceed 50 crores and turnover not exceeding 250 crores. That is the definition for the purpose of calculation of this turnover, exports of goods and services are both shall be excluded. So export of goods or services shall be excluded for this turnover calculation. No enterprise shall be placed in the lower category. Suppose this is a medium enterprise. This can be downgraded to small enterprise. How? That is this. No enterprise shall be placed in the lower category. Means from medium to small enterprise. Unless it goes below the ceiling limit of in the present category in both the criteria of investment as well as turnover. When a medium enterprise is going to be downgraded to small enterprise, means investment as well as turnover is going to be down, then only goes below the stipulated, then only the unit is going to be downgraded. That is the. Then further the enterprise will continue in its present category till the closure of the financial year. In which category during the current year there, till the completion of the current financial year, that unit is going to be completed in that category and they will enjoy the benefits in that category. That is question number 75, MSME, medium enterprise. Important, micro, small and medium enterprise. All the three are important. Question number 76, Lagu Udyami credit card, LUCC, Lagu Udyami credit card, working capital. This is the SIDBI scheme. This is the SIDBI scheme, working capital limits. Maximum working capital limit loan 10 lakhs. Under this limit, LUCC banks can finance up to 10 lakhs. For small business and retail trader, 20% of the turnover we can give as a loan. For self-employed persons, 50% of gross income we can give. For retail trader business, 20% of turnover you can give. For self-employed and professionals, you will give 50%. Margin is 25%. Under this Lagu Udyami credit card, margin is 25%. All the existing borrowers belong to the MSC sector. We can finance under this. The loan sanction is valid period of 3 years. Whatever the limit sanctioned, 3 years, subject to review of every year. And these loans are covered under CGT MSC cover also. CGT MSC cover. Thank you very much, viewers, for extending support for our YouTube channel. Regularly, we are posting updates through various videos for JAB, CAB and promotional examinations. Thank you very much for all for extending support.